after the check-in, because it's all about energy, isn't it? It's like you do your where am I at energy check-in, and then immediately after that you change your energy to whatever it is you want it to be by moving and just like, no, shake awake. In studio today I have got Umamulundi Ludidi with me. She's no stranger to the Soul Dive. She's been with us a couple of times. And today I felt like we need to discuss a topic that for me is a little bit difficult, but with the help of a life coach such as yourself, Mama, I know that we can navigate this one, hey? Welcome to the Soul Dive. Please say hello.
Hello.
She said hello. Mama Didi is a life coach as well as a human being. Yeah?
Yes.
A mother and a person who herself has experienced grief in her life. And that's what we are going to talk about. We're going to talk about dealing with grief. We're going to talk about grief itself. And hopefully you're going to give us some pointers as to, you know, what are some of the things we can do in dealing with it ourselves, but also in helping others to deal with it. I believe from our conversation even that grief is one of those things that affects every single one of us at a time or another.
Indeed.
Yeah. Share some initial thoughts with us about this subject, Mama, please.
Grief, yes. Some people think they are immune to it or they can handle it, and yet it's something that needs to be acknowledged, that it's there and it's going to affect each and every one of us one way or the other, and it's there, it's going to stay. And the most important thing is, how do we cope in the midst of it, and how do we deal with it, and how do we deal with other people that are affected by that time?
You know, I think one of the initial thoughts that I had thinking about this subject is just simply this whole thing, Uguti. Somebody said to me the other day, I don't think I deal with things right. And I put air quotes next to it because it's ridiculous to think that there is a right way or a wrong way of dealing. But is there such? Am I deluding myself by thinking there isn't a right way or wrong way of dealing with grief?
It's I don't want to say it's a right or a wrong, but it's a good way of dealing with grief that is relevant to how I feel, because grief is an emotion. It's just like you love, just like you want to cry, just like your excitement. There's no good or bad way of doing it, but it's how do I deal with it.
Is it perhaps that the good ways are ways that build us and let us take from, because I mean grief comes because we loved someone.
Yes.
We loved the person we lost. We cared deeply, and perhaps there's a way that is good because it allows us to take from that relationship we benefited from, the love from it, rather than to then be self-destructive and do things that take away from whatever good they may have contributed to our lives while they were around.
Let me put it this way. Grief can make or break one. It's on how you handle it. Some people say, my life can't be normal without that person. I can't deal with it. My life will never be the same. And some will say, life must move on. And they give themselves time frame to deal with grief, and it doesn't. And they don't, and the others around, they don't know how to handle people who are dealing with grief. And the statements that are uttered, very sensitive statements, like, come on, deal with it and move on. Or the other thing, like, no, he was old or she was old, so why? We're all going to die one day, and God is there, he's come and he's visited, and all such things.
Yeah. You know, I mean, obviously every single one of us have gone through it, but I very quickly, when I went through grief, realized that the world does not stop spinning. It doesn't stop. Everything carries on as if nothing happened. And it is to you that you must now take steps to look after yourself so that you are then able to rejoin the race somehow. Because it's not like, you know, they're going to close shops and banks and give holidays of a month long while you lick your wounds and go back. but at the same time, it doesn't mean that you don't have space. You cannot take space. But how do people do that when you've got jobs to go to? Like, you can't take infinite amounts of time to deal with grief. So how do you do that and still continue to work and function and be?
We need to be quite sensitive and observant to people who are experiencing grief, because there are times that they would be withdrawn because they don't know about things, or your mother. Instead, when you see that somebody is like wanting to be alone and talk to, because you do your own self-talks, allow someone to do it and give that person space. Some would even go to the bathroom and say, okay, I just want to be alone. And some would say, I want to take a nap. It's not a nap. It's just that I want to deal with my inner self, my inner emotions, because everything is within. Instead of being pushy and wanting to be there, just be there and say, I'm here, or I'm here if you need to talk. Or if you need
but that
support.
line of I'm here if you need to, does it actually work? Because I feel like people will just be like, I don't want to bother anyone with my grief.
It does work in the sense that you're not talking about what happened to the person that is not there.
It's no longer.
But the most important thing is I'm there for you. Because sometimes you don't want to talk about the person, the loved one that is gone. You want to talk about some